Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
Everybody, it's Paul Neeson. We're in Anaheim, California. We are heading to the New Products Expo. It's my first time there. I'm very excited. But today's Friday, and today we have questions and answers. Before we do this, I want to let everyone know I'm speaking Sunday in the LA area, Los Angeles, and then Monday in Costa Mesa or in Huntington Beach on Monday and Tuesday. So check it out on my website, paulneeson.com. All right, question and answers. The first thing is Dr. Schandl. We did an amazing interview. It's probably one of the best interviews I've ever done, I believe. The information was so important. And you can check that out. But we really didn't have too many questions, just everyone saying how great they enjoyed the interview. Somebody did ask how much Dr. Schandl charges for his test. Somebody else asked what specific test we should take. And I always talk about the different types of tests, but it's his longevity blood profile test. He also has a cancer blood profile test. And all those tests are on his website at caprofile.net. caprofile.net. We had another comment from somebody about my beard. They commented how different I look. But they also said they liked the way it's coming in. Well, I am loving my beard. I'm loving the way it's coming in. And what do you think? I'd love to know. But I'm loving it. It feels great, and I like the way it looks. And so that was another comment. But the main comment this week was about a joke I made. It was basically about raw water. It was a joke I made because it's a joke I've been saying for years. I said, what's going to come next? Raw water? Well, I got called out on that because it was just a joke and people enjoyed my joke. I even spoke about raw air. I don't know if anyone out there makes raw air except our creator. But if you do, I'm sure I'll be hearing from you. But it was a joke. I was saying that I've been speaking about, things, and if you put the word raw on things, all of a sudden people think it's good, and before you know it, they're going to have raw water. And lo and behold, now they have raw water. And I usually don't name people in my videos because I don't like to, get specific with any, people who are doing things. But since I got called out by the person who he doesn't make the raw water, who bottles it. His name's Daniel Vitalis. And I have to say, he made a very informative response. Not even a response, because I didn't make any claims about the raw water. I just said, this is my joke, somebody's going to have raw water. Anyway, he did give a very informative response. And I do like some of his information, so I would like to get him as a guest on a future show and give him an opportunity to explain more. But his response was very informative, and it really gave he didn't have to convince me. I mean, all seriousness, I think spring water, right from the spring, the purer, the better. And I think that's great. I made a good joke, but I think that's wonderful. But he made a good convincing argument. If somebody didn't think it's wonderful, why raw water is great and why his water that he bottles is much better than the spring water you would find in a store. It comes in a glass bottle. It's springed right at the source, truly springed at the source. So it's wonderful. So if anyone asks me what I think of it, I think it is wonderful. However, I like my friend Kevin Gianni's response. Since we're naming people, I might as well name people. Kevin Gianni had a great response, and he says he thinks raw water is great, but he's not paying that much for water. He's just not paying that much for water. That was his response. Now, if you have the money and you want to pay for it, I think, it's a great source of water to get, and I recommend you check it out. Even better, Daniel has a website, a great website that I've been on before, and it has springs all over the country where you can go and find a spring right near you and just get water right at the source. And I know that took a lot of work to do, so thank you, Daniel Vitalis, for that. Now, I have a request. Please find some springs near West Palm Beach, Florida, Daniel, or anywhere in the vicinity of Miami, because I'd love to get down there. Actually, I hear Florida has more springs than anywhere else in the country. I don't know if they're drinking springs, but I know they're cold springs. There's only one warm springs in Florida. So that's interesting information. But I love springs. I love hot springs. Cold springs, if I could drink it, great, but I'm not jumping in a cold spring. I don't like cold. But anyway, so, raw water, it's got my thumbs up. The price, I know it's expensive to ship, and I know it takes a lot of work to go there. Well, it doesn't take a lot of work to go there and bottle one bottle, but if you're doing it on a mass production, I'm sure it's a lot of work. And I appreciate Daniel Vitalis for getting that out there for people who want that opportunity. So go and check that out. And Daniel, come be a guest on the Raw Life Health Show. I'm sure people would want us to do an interview. So now, on the other hand, Fred Patinoy, since I'm interviewing all these raw food people, Fred Patinoy, another raw food speaker, has a new website. I really like his new website, but he had a video on his show, and he had a doctor talk about reverse osmosis water, and the doctor spoke about why the spring water wasn't ideal and wasn't good. That doctor, or that person, I don't know if he was a doctor that spoke, he gave a very convincing argument why raw water, the spring water isn't ideal and reverse osmosis is better. You know, so it can get confusing, and that's what I see happening here. I see a lot of people starting to question the water thing. At first it was the ionizers versus the spring water. Now it's the purified water versus the spring water from the raw water and so on. And there's a lot of confusion about water. But the first thing people need to understand, don't get so confused that you're not drinking water, because dehydration is such a common thing today, and it's sad that people are so confused. They're not even drinking water. Some people will say, I have a lot of water in my diet, so I don't need to drink any water. Well, I definitely don't agree with that. We need to drink a good amount of water, and upon rising is the best time to do that. Between meals throughout the day is a great time, not before going to sleep, because if it makes you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, it's not the ideal situation for you. But you need to drink a good amount of water. I would say the purer the better. If you have a spring right near your house, go ahead and get that water. That's great. If you want to shell out the money for the raw water, go ahead and do that. Getting water in glass bottles is great. If you do use distilled water, make sure you put some lemon juice or some Celtic sea salt to put some life back into the water. So these things are things I would recommend. Check that out on the internet and just do your research. The ionizers, people always ask me which ionizer is better and so on. If you do get an ionizer, you need a filter under the counter or on top of the counter, because there's only one small filter in the ionizer. It's not a filter, so you need an extra filter if you get an ionizer. And also, I don't see a big difference, personally. Maybe I'm wrong, and I know there are certain people that sell expensive ionizers that are going to shoot me for saying this, but I don't see a big difference between the really expensive ones for $3,000 versus the ones for like $300. I think it's all bells and whistles, and I know there are people that are strongly opposed to what I just said, and maybe I am wrong, but at home I have a $400 ionizer with a filter at the bottom. That's what I use at home. If I'm on the road and I can get to a Fresh Springs, that's wonderful. And I search for them. I just haven't found them in Florida, but sometimes I find them in other places. So that's the take on water, everyone. And and I'm going to drink some water. I have that upon rising every morning. I have a lot of Dr. Schandl's videos. Please, if you didn't see them yet this week, go back and look at them. It talks about blood tests and the importance of blood tests. People are neglecting blood tests on a raw food diet. It's not wise. You definitely want to make sure you get your blood tested, and not the basic blood test. I know a raw food teacher that's saying, oh, his blood was tested and it was great. But he only got a couple of tests. He didn't get a wide variety of tests. And next week I'm going to be talking a lot about vitamins and supplements, because what do you do when you're eating the ideal diet according to you and you have deficiencies? Well, you need to take some supplements, because if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same result. To think you're going to get a different result if you keep doing the same thing is the definition of insanity. So we want to be careful about that. I got a great guest next week who I was just hanging out with today. I'll keep you all in suspense, but I'll give you a hint. Hi-de-ho. Now, here's the deal. Okay, I want to have a contest. I'll give you a free DVD if you can guess who next week special guest is going to be. I'm going to have several, but there's one in particular, and the hint is hi-de-ho. Okay, everybody. This is Paul Neeson in Southern California. I hope to see you out here if you're out here this weekend on Sunday in LA and Monday and Tuesday. And I'm also heading over to Arizona next week. So get on my website, check out those dates. Until then, everybody, have a great day and a great raw life. Hi-de-ho.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life.